Many fans have dreamt what it would be like to live in the Pokemon world, to be a Pokemon trainer, to venture out and test their mettle, to see if they have what it takes to become a champion. But where do they begin? Who are they to challenge? The Pokemon League Gym Leaders. Gym Leaders are masters of their chosen Pokemon type and stand as an obstacle to aspiring Pokemon champions. Those that pass the test are then rewarded with a gym badge, proving their victory. I have created a team as if I were a gym leader and have opened the virtual doors to my gym. So my team's lineup will be Pelipper, Dreadnought, Toxapex, Gyarados, Palafin and Dragonite. The team has a strong synergy with Rain, with many different options on top of that. Here is a quick snapshot of my team with a rental code. If for whatever reason you fancy using it, there you go. To the victors, they'll receive the Beacon Badge. Do you have what it takes to be a Pokemon Master? Could these be your first steps to a World Championship? Your very own Pokemon adventure awaits. The first person to pose the challenge is going to be Trainer Chris. And he leads off with his Titan and Gargle-Knackle, making sure I start with Pelipper to get the rain going, boosting any of my attacks. But I do want to then use Flip Turn to get out Palafin so he can come back in his boosted state, with bringing in Gyarados to then even hit with an Intimidate and drop their attack. Now Chris does use Stealth Rocks. 3 of my Pokemon being flying in this particular match is going to cause some trouble if I'm not too careful. With the advantage of Rain, Hurricane is 100% accurate, and it even gets the Confusion on his Titan, which then does hit, and his Rock Slide misses. Great turn for me, poor turn for Chris.
So I missed.
Swapping back into Palafin, now in his superhero form. Gyarados using Waterfall absolutely smashes the Gargle-Knackle. There's been quite a rough start for Chris and his team. Blizzard only hitting Gyarados means that Palafin has had a safe then switch in. Chris decides to bring in Masquerada, even terastallizing, but Palafin has Ice Punch, completely wiping out its health bar. So Titan takes a crash course from Gyarados and is knocked out. Gallade comes in facing a 4v1. It's all over though. Swift damage to him, knocking out the Gallade, and it is a victory against Chris. Next up we have the hard-working and well-established trainer, Just Jack. I lead in with Pelipper and Gyarados. Pelipper I need to have up, which is so pivotal to have Rain up for this team. Wochen and Grimmsnarl from Jack. Pelipper is hit with Fake Out, so whatever I wanted to do isn't happening now. We do get an Iron Head onto the Grimmsnarl, but with Wochen's ability, it's really knocked a lot of what my team's capability can be. Point in case is Foul Play, hitting Gyarados for massive damage as he is built to hit hard himself. Scooping up Gyarados so I can drop him back in for an Intimidate later. Dreadnought is going to take over. Hurricane into Wochen. I don't quite get lucky with the Confusion this time. Foul Play hitting Dreadnought for massive damage. Like I say, both of the Gyarados and Dreadnought have high attack, so that then ends up working against me. Grimmsnarl having now set up both sets of screens, and with Wochen, there's not a lot of damage making it through to Jack's side of the field. Now, I don't claim to be a genius, and certainly VGC proves that. I'm trying to big brain a little too much and predict what's going to happen, switching back into Gyarados. Now Jack saves his Grimmsnarl, bringing in Amoonguss. Dreadnought already targeting that position. Amoonguss takes very little damage. Leaving itself vulnerable to a Wo-Chen foul play. Knocking out Dreadnought. Meaning I'm to bring in Dragonite next. A protect on both sides with Amoonguss and Gyarados. The right call from Jack, as Dragonite has Amoonguss in its sights. Sadly, I don't make the same prediction, as Wo-Chen wants to attack the Dragonite, not Gyarados. Silly me. The rain has now stopped, so I need to bring Pelipper back in. Amoonguss changing to Water type could be really good for me, as Dragonite does have Thunder, but the Spore comes out from Amoonguss hitting Dragonite, and honestly this is just the start of my downfall. Switching into Gyarados, and even then they're hit for another Spore, meaning that my last two Pokemon are out here having a big old snooze fest. Desperate for the early wake up, but it isn't going to happen, and it doesn't take Jack. And it doesn't take long for Jack to just clean up and claim victory. Jack is absolutely impressive. His knowledge and understanding of the VGC is something to be believed, and I hope he does well in the future. But that does mean as well, like I say, he has earned himself the Beacon badge, so congratulations to Jack. Time waits for no man. Harry is here to get the job done. So he sends out Kilowattrel and Masbotic. I myself am going to lead with Pelipper and Gyarados. Again, I go for a big brain play, trying to predict. I protect with Gyarados. Harry is able to set up Tailwind with his Kilowattrel. Pelipper's sent out with the eject button. Quite the unfortunate start for me this time. Harry switching out Kilowattrel with Volt Switch. Absolutely decimates Gyarados though. Bringing Glimmora in place. Masbotic hitting my Dragonite for critical damage. But thankfully, Dragonite has multi-scale, so it is lessened. To top it off with super effective hit, Weakness Policy will boost my attack and special attack. Dragon Tail smacks Glimmora away. It does drop some Toxic Spikes with its ability, but it shouldn't be too bad. Should be fine. Dreadnought takes stage. I aim to hit Arboliva with a Hurricane, but Harry switches in the Glimmora instead. While it does protect the Arboliva, it does mean that the Glimmora will go down with such little HP. But first, I Terrestrialize Dreadnought. Big boost in its attack. But I am surprised that Harry then attacks my Dreadnought instead of Dragonite. Waterfall is able to just smash away the Masbotic. And not getting a chance to do much, Glimmora gets blown away. Now he has to bring out two Pokemon, so he brings out Kilowattrel and Arboliva in a 3v2 now. All my Pokemon are heavily weakened, setting up using super effective moves on both Pokemon. I don't get to execute the plan entirely. So long, Dreadnought. You did us proud. Good takedown from Dragonite. Arboliva sowing its seeds before leaving the battlefield, giving a tiny bit of healing. Dragonite and Pelipper stand to finish up Harry's last remaining Pokemon. Harry Terrestrializing on the final turn of the match. Dragonite primes a Thunder. Pelipper a Hydro Pump. Kilowattrel is faster and is able to remove Dragonite from the equation. In my mind, a fantastic play by Harry. Thunder would have KO'd it, now solely a flying type, but a rain boosted Hydro Pump thankfully lands the mark, taking it out. An excellent battle from Harry. Great stuff. And birds of a feather flock together. Scott has thrown down the gauntlet and has challenged the gym. Obviously I will lead with Pelipper, as I do need the rain, as I have continued to say. Now the Kilowattrel obviously will just take out Pelipper immediately, because that's the best thing to do. The Garchomp becomes really scary by using a nice sword stance. A flip turn out with Palafin, we can be a little bit useful, a lot sooner than I thought, as I can bring Gyarados in, and because Pelipper is down, I get a free switch back into Palafin. We get a priority Jet Punch to stop Kilowattrel. Going to Dragon Dance with a Gyarados, so he can now become just as, maybe not just as scary as the Gyarados, as the Garchomp, but she's certainly getting there. On Palafin I do run a Choice Band. I am locked into Jet Punch. Now I can hit Garchomp for absolute massive damage, but not as hard as Palafin can take it back. With Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet, it's a double KO. Big smashing headbutt to Arboliva, allowing it to sow its seeds. Roscrew over the battlefield so we can get some healing. Do get a flinch, which is fantastic. But with that and its leftovers, it does heal quite a bit of health considering. Now I do go for a double protect on this turn, trying to big brain a little too much. And I really didn't need to, as both of Scott's team end up targeting Dreadnought, so I could have maybe got off something from Gyarados. And I think really this might have been not the reason why it's not going well, but I didn't keep up the pressure on Arboliva, allowing it to heal even more health with both the grassy terrain and leftovers. Both Dreadnought and Gyarados getting big hits on either side of the battlefield. Maybe if I doubled up, I might have been able to sort of survive a little bit, but an Energy Ball coming in, just completely wiping out Dreadnought. Critical hits, but I don't think that would have even mattered. He's a goner. Gyarados finally being able to take out the Arboliva, but coming down to it, it's just too little too late. Twin Beam takes it out. A victory for Scott. Fantastic work by him. Another classy trainer to win the Beacon Badge. These are all the battles I wanted to highlight for today. The doors are going to remain open for the gym, so if you do fancy coming down to the lighthouse, just drop me a message on social media. We can organise a little battle, and yeah, maybe even you could win and I'll send you out one of these badges. How about that? That's pretty cool. And like I said in my last video, there are so many ways to enjoy the Pokemon cards. There are just so many ways to enjoy Pokemon overall. Be it more of a casual style of play or really hardcore, going for that super competitive vibe. As long as you have fun, that's the main thing. I've been Andy at Bill's Lighthouse. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.